Hi, it's Bob here with Chantal on the camera, just at the Dice Cup, and I'm going to be doing full rules explanation for Agra. I'll tell you a little bit about the game, the theme. It's Akbar the Great's birthday, so everyone's going to celebrate it. That would be the famous Indian leader, not the Admiral. Everyone's coming round, you're basically one of the traders in the area, there's a lot of notables coming. You're trying to basically make as much money as you can out of this festival. The game's very much a resource game. You're generating resources, moving around, trading them. You also are building buildings because for some reason no one's actually built anything in this great capital yet. So this is the main board. Up the top there's going to be 4 worker placement areas, which I'll come to. This is the meditation track, which I'll cover. These are bonus tiles you get for doing the buildings. These are related to that. This is the main board. What you'll find is you have these tokens. These tokens do more than one task. Firstly, they are favour tokens. Lots of the actions you do give you these as favour tokens, and when you do, you put them on your board somewhere, and they build up and build and build up, and you can use them for bonus actions. The other thing you can do is they can appear on the board as resources. So that would represent 1 tumeric. This would represent 2 logs. If I had one here, this would be it's probably sand or similar. So this is the board, and the one way to think of these are level 1 resources which you can build at the start. These are level 2s, and these are level 3s. And what you notice is arrows, so level 1s become level 2s. These particular level 2s can become level 3s. From the very end, you've got this river where the procession of people are coming with this boat that moves across, and you've got these notables that you can deliver to. The boat starts here. When you've basically completely delivered to 2 of these, it moves on. You deliver to one of these level 2s, it moves on again, and eventually it goes off here, off the end. First player will start, and there's a lovely first player token here. They will take their actions, and the actions is they do a meditation, which will be using this meditation track over here. Then they'll will do 1 worker placement action. Then at the very end they get a chance to fulfill 1 order, and these orders are over here, which will either be guild orders or giving something to Akbar up here. Then after that it goes to the next player, and then they have those 3 things again in order, sort of 3 phases. The next player, and it just goes round and round and round until the end of the game is triggered. The end of the game can be triggered by one of 3 ways. The first one is this boat is going to be moving as various things happen. If it comes off the end here, that triggers the end of the game. Also, if I take you over to this board, if one of these is completely filled, because these will have things go into them as they get delivered to and the goods orders get fulfilled, when that's completely filled, the game would trigger an end. And also, if you get to the top of this track here, you also get it triggering the end of the game. When the game end is triggered, we continue to equal turns, so we go back to effectively the last player, when everyone gets 1 more go. And at the very end, people will do end game scoring, which is on various things I'll explain, and any money you've collected during the game, and basically the person with the most money will have won. The first phase of a player's action is the meditation, where you basically gain meditation points when spend them. The way you gain them is by taking your workers, which are stood up, and laying them down. So if I lay this down, and I could, for example, lay this one down as well. This is the meditation track. You actually start here, but imagine I've done another action to move it up to this point, and I lay 2 workers down. The first worker gets you 2 meditation points. The second you lay down gets you 1. If, for example, I'd upgraded it all the way to here, the first would get me 2, the second I lay down would get me another 2, and the third and all the other ones would get me 1 point. So obviously as you push further up here, you gain more meditation points, and you gain more for the first few workers that you put down. Okay, so imagine I've got my 3, 5 or however many meditation points. You can spend them on this track here, and just on this bit. 1 will all start covered, which is 1 you cannot take. but the others you can take them in any order, and you can do each one multiple times. So we'll start with one of the simple ones. For 2 meditation points, you can remove a X that's covering your board. So we'll come over to the board here. You'll notice there's these X's. You basically go, I pay 2, I just take it off. And this will help for production later as I show you that action. If I come back here, this one is also quite simple. For 1 meditation, you can move a farmer 1. So over here, I could spend 1 to move a farmer here, or I could spend 1 to move a farmer here, and obviously you can do it multiple times. If I come back to this one, this you spend meditation equal to the level of a good, and you can exchange it for another good of the same level. So if we look at the main board here, you've got various resources. These are level 1s, these are level 2s, and these are level 3s. So I could, for example, spend 2 meditation to take this level 2 good and exchange it for here, or any of the other level 2s. Finally, you can upgrade a good. You basically will upgrade it 1 spot, and the cost of meditation, the X there, is the level of the good you're going to. So for example, looking at the main board, if I wanted to upgrade this good up to this level 2, or this level 2, it would cost me 2 meditation. To upgrade this one to a 3 would cost me 3 meditation.
After meditation is used, the blocking token always moves. Move the blocking token to the last action used. The central action cannot be blocked, so if the central action was the only action used, then move the token to the action space opposite the central action.
The middle part, or the second phase of someone's turn, is where you actually place a worker, so the worker placement element. So this is actually the main board. You place your worker wherever you want and you take the action. If you go where somebody is, their piece goes back to them. If it's laid down like this, so they've meditated with it, it just goes back to them. If I was to go here where they've got a worker that's still stood up, well, that actually goes back to them and they gain 1 favour token, which you basically take and you store on the board, which you can then use for bonus actions. If you have gone somewhere already, and imagine you want to go to the same place again, you can, but you have to do what is called a peon action. You have to spend 2 rupees, 2 money, you stand up the worker and then you can take the action again. So you almost want people to go and bump you out if you want to redo an action.
I want to know.
The basic actions are these 4 here, and they're the only ones available at the start of the game. If you go to, say for example, the tumeric one here, you can produce an amount of tumeric which depends on your farm. So if I show you my player board here now, you look at the number of empty spaces between your workers and the good you're trying to produce. So in this case, I would produce 2 turmeric. If, for example, I had used meditation to move this farmer here, maybe I'd use meditation to remove this token here, I'd actually produce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turmeric. So obviously you will move these around trying to create more of these base goods. So we take you back to the board. So you produce them, and all you do is you take these tokens and you put them on. So if I produce 2 of them, I'll just put 2 on there. This is how you know what resources you have in the game. All the resources are on the board. As you go into these, you produce these resources. So these 2 elements are for building, and I'll come to that later when we look at the build action. One of the things you can also do is go where this so-called elephant is. When you go there, you'll gain 2 favour tokens yourself. So you effectively gain 2 of these favour tokens which you can then use. And also the elephant will move, and you actually roll the dice. So you roll it and imagine it came up with a 3. This elephant, it's supposed to actually be a trader, will move 1, 2, 3. Only go into the buildings that have already been built. And basically when they're built, these things disappear off them. So it'd go 1, 2, 3, and it will put a coin wherever it passes over. So in this case, if it went from here, 1, 2, 3, there'd be a coin there and a coin there. If someone else lands there at some point, they can pick up the coin. The next bit is as an action. So imagine you've got your basic resources here. Now, imagine someone had previously built this. I'll come back to the building later. So imagine that was already built. If you go here, you process. And for the sake of my explanation, I'm going to put another piece there. When you go here as your action, you can move up to 3 of your base resources from here up this line. So you basically go, okay, I'm going to move these 3 up here. And you've upgraded them from cotton to, in this case, some sort of oil or incense or perfume, I'm not sure. Anyone who's got any workers here can move 1 up there for free, but they must give you a favour token for doing that. So if they had, so for example, if the blue player had 3 here, they can only move 1, but if they decide to do that, they give the red player or purple player a favour token. Obviously it's the same if I came to this spot here and this had actually already been built. You could move 3 up to there, and if you notice there's lines for if goods are in here and you process one of these up, you'll move goods from this space up to here. So all the time you're improving them, cotton to cloth, cloth to clothes. Even if a building's not been built, you can still upgrade to it. So for example, even if this item hasn't been built, I could still upgrade from here to here. I could trade a good from here to here via the meditation. The next bit I'm going to talk about is the 4 main worker actions, which are these 4 spaces here. So this is the botanist. You pick 2 of these actions. You can't do the same action twice. The first action is that you can go up the meditation track. So if I show you the board here, this is how you move your crystal token up. You do have to pay this cost in resources to go up each stage. And each time it only moves you up 1 spot, but it's still quite a very good action. This one here allows you just to remove an X, similar to the meditation action, which costs 2 meditation. You just remove an X from your farm. And this one is you can move farmers twice. So either 1 farmer 2 spots or 2 farmers 1 spot. Okay. The next worker action is the trader. The trader has effectively 2 parts to it. The first one is you select one of these tokens here and move it to any resource you want. And what you do is you can change the price of a resource. So for example, if I took this 2 here and put it over this spot, it means that these statues are now only a value of 2, the same as the other 2 value goods in the game. Something else I might do is if I've got, say, a lot of these bricks which are worth 2 at the moment, I might go over there and make them worth 3. You can also move a token from on the board to another place on the board. You can also flip a token as well if you wish. The one thing to bear in mind is you can only adjust the price by a maximum of 1. So you can't, for example, put this here and say these are now only going to cost you 1. You can't make the 1 resource items worth 3. You do that first, and then you do your trades. You select up to 3 goods, so between 1 and 3 goods, and then you sell them for whatever their value is, including any modifications you've made by putting these down. You then take 1 off the value, and then you can just buy any goods you want based on that value. So if I give you an example here, I might say I want to sell, imagine I've got 3 of these. So I'd go, okay, I'm going to take this and put that on there. These are now worth 3 each. I take 3 of these off, which is a total of 9. I have to pay 1 for the fact I'm using the trader, so I get 8 worth of goods. So I might go, I'll have 1 of these for free, I'll have 1 of these for free, and let's say 1 of these for 2. So that's a total of 8. So the trader is quite a good way to diversify into different goods, which you particularly need for doing those orders. So that's your trader. The next one is shipping or doing orders. When you go here, you will always be able to ship 1 good, but you can basically bribe the person who's working there with another good, so he will take more items. If you give an item that's value 1, you basically can he will deliver 2 goods for you. If you give him, say, an item that's worth 3, he would deliver 4 goods for you. Any spare deliveries he doesn't do, you get back as money. So if you gave him a 3 level good, which would be a total of 4 deliveries, and you only had him deliver 2 items, you'd actually get 2 rupees back, 2 money. You can also, and I'll just mention this now, that you can use them to fulfill guild orders by using 2 of your deliveries to deliver to one of these. Generally, it's not a good idea because you can do these at the end of the game for free. It is possible. So how do the deliveries go? So let's imagine I decide to give this guy, let's say this item here, okay, which is a value of 2. So I get to deliver 3 items. So I'll take that off and it's out. These are the people I can deliver to. At the start of the game, you can only deliver to the level 1 people. After we've delivered to 2 level 1 people completely, so they're removed, this boat will move to the next spot and suddenly you can deliver to these level 2 people. But let's start with these here. So I can deliver 3 goods, and these are the goods they want. And obviously, like cotton would be cotton off the board. This would be this symbol here. So for example, I'd go, okay, I'm going to deliver 1 wood. So I take the wood off my board, put it there. I'm going to deliver, let's for example say I haven't used this brick. I deliver 1 brick from here to there, and let's say I deliver 1 cotton from here to this spot. So that's 3 deliveries. This achieves 2 things. The first one is you get money for delivering to them. The first token that goes there gets 1 rupee. The second one to go there gets you 2 rupees. So by doing this delivery, I would actually get a total of 3. If the blue player had previously delivered here and I just delivered just the wood, I'd get 2 rupees from this delivery because it's what's been previously delivered. So delivering late gets you more money. So imagine you've delivered to the red person here who's of the red guild. That means you'll go up on the red track. So this is the guild track, and you basically take your piece and move up 1 spot. If I take you back here, because we've delivered to the blue notable, we'd also go up 1 on the blue track as well. If I take you back here, one thing to bear in mind is that if you deliver to 2 red notables, you still only get 1 move up on the red track. You get a maximum of 1 of each colour on your turn from delivering to notables. The final thing to bear in mind is if you actually deliver all of the goods that somebody requires, and if I go here and here, what this means is that notable is now happy. You take your goods off, you take this card and you will put it in front of you and you gain some bonus. In this case, this person gives you +1 when you're doing your building, which is the building action I'll be getting to next, and every time you build you gain 1 rupee. I'll take that off. This one here gives you another bonus. What I'll say is, if you look in the rule book, you've got an appendix and this actually lists what all the different people do. So I'm not going to go through all those. It's better to look at the ones because not all of them will always be in the game. Sometimes you'll have 2 people on there when it's finished. At this point, whoever's got the most goods delivered will claim the card. If there's an equal number, whoever's higher on this track, the highest one, they will get the card. In this case, blue would get the card. If you've delivered goods and you haven't got the card, whatever you put on there, you get as a consolation prize a favour token. So this would now become a favour token on my board. In this case, that gets delivered. It goes to the blue player over there somewhere. And this would trigger immediately. So as soon as it's sold to immediately, the boat would move because 2 level 1 notables have now been delivered to. It moves to here. And then these level 2s become available. At this point, when you sell to 1 level 2, the boat moves to here, and so on and so forth, as you can see what you actually need for the boat to move. Special actions happen at some of these boat stages. So when you go to here, the builder, which I will come to later, will automatically build 1 building and then move on. When you go here, for every cotton you have, you will gain 1 favour. For here, all the tokens that you use with a merchant to change prices go back and everybody gets a favour. Here, depending on the amount of cotton you've got, you gain some bonuses. You gain either bonus level 1 good, level 2 good, or level 3 good. And at the very end, obviously, if it comes off here, firstly, the game will be triggered, the game ending, but also you get to sell any clothes you've got, one of them, for its value +1. You'll also notice these tokens here. Like that's got a 4 on it, there's a 5 and there's a 6. If I take you over to this track here, you'll notice the number 3 here. This means at the start of the game, a maximum of 3 items can be delivered to the guilds. As the boat travels, that becomes 4, 5 and eventually 6. When it's 6, if the entire thing is filled with orders, all the orders for that guild's been done, that's another end game trigger. So that's your trading actions done. So the final person to come back to is the builder. Now, the builder has one special thing which people quite often miss. Instead of doing the build action, you can instead just go one of the guild tracks by going here. It's not a great action, but sometimes you just need to go up one on the guild tracks. If you do the build action, what you do is you remove as many goods as you want with building material values on them. So if I show you here, let's move a couple of items over. So these are value 1, value 1, value 2, value 2. If I remove this, I have 2 points worth of building. If I remove that, I would actually have 4 points, because if you use more than one type of good, you get a bonus one. So if I had 2 goods there and took them off, that would be 4. If I had this, it would be 2, 3, and a bonus one, 4. If I took that, and that off, it'd actually be 5, because you only get the bonus once. The cost to build them is the costs here. So for these ones it's 3, for these ones it's 4, and so on. The top ones cost you 6. The actual process for building one of these is, imagine that I've got some cotton and I'm going to build this, so I would need 4 worth of goods, building materials. So I go here, on the building action. This is an easy mistake to make. Don't put it on where you're going to build it, and put it on the building action. I will take off this item and this item, which will be 3 plus 1, 4. I then remove this 4 value, which comes off the board. You then take another worker and put it here, and then you get to do the processing action, which I mentioned earlier, for free. So in this case, any goods which you've got here, up to 3, can be automatically upgraded. Again, anyone who's got a good there can choose up to 1 good, and only a maximum of 1 good to do that, but they have to give you a favour each time. So obviously building's quite good, because you build and then you get to automatically use the building. Also, as an additional bonus, if you notice here, you've got some tiles with 2 like archers, 3 archers, 4 archers. These represent the 3, the 4 and the 6 value buildings. You can also take one of these, and you basically get what's on there. So for example, this one is remove one of those farm cover tiles and you get some money. This one moves you up the red track, this one gives you a favour, some money, and so on and so forth. Obviously the higher ones give you more. I mean, this gives you 6 money, which is pretty good. Also, the builder. If you do the building action and this guy's there, so imagine he's at this spot, you can choose to build without spending any resources. It builds, you get to build a place someone here, you get to use the building, but you don't get to take one of these bonus tiles. At that point, once it's been used and it's built there, you roll the dice, and well, let's imagine it's a 3, it moves on 1, 2, 3, and now it wants to build this one for free for somebody, so this would have come off. The third part of a player's action, or the third phase, is fulfilling an order. So at the very end, after you've done the meditation and the worker placement, you can fulfill an order if you're able to, and that's done over on this side of the board. And you've got 2 things you can do. You can either do one or the other. The first one is to do with the great Akbar himself. You basically will give him one of these goods. So for example, if I had a paper, I could take the paper resource off the main board and put it there. Once I've given him paper, no one else can give him paper. So someone else might come and, for example, the blue player, I'll give him some oil, and then on a later turn I come back round and I go, oh, I'm going to give them some cloves and so on, so this can slowly fill up. This is very much the end game scoring, however many of these you get down. The other thing you can do is you can do a guild order. Now for guild order, you see these yellow tokens at the start of the game. You roll a d6 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's where you place them. You can only fulfill the order where these yellow pegs are. So this one would want some planks and some curry. This would be cotton and a book. And so for example, this would be brick and a book. If you've got the 2 goods, you would take those 2 goods off the board, and then you basically take that, you replace it, and this moves up to the next space. So it goes down, 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 and it drops off there and it comes back up to the top. And as I mentioned before, at the start of the game you can only have a maximum of 3 of your tokens in here. Later it becomes 4, and then 5, and then 6 as the boat travels. So you give the 2 goods in, you put your token there, and at this point you look at this track. If you're the highest on the track, so imagine I've just delivered to the red track here, you get this amount of money that's displayed by the side, so I'd get free money. If instead I'd been the blue player, you actually get whatever the amount of money is. So if you're at the very bottom, that would be nothing. But imagine it was like this, for example. If the blue player delivered here, they would get 4 coins minus 1. So you get 1 less, but then you move up the track. If the blue player now gave yet another item here and delivered to the guild, they would not move up because they're at the top. They would just get 4 coins. So it helps you to catch back up, but when you're at the top, you just get the money. And obviously you keep on particularly doing actions different to the notables will move you up this track. And as I've said at the top, you get up here, that triggers the end of the game. The amount of money you get goes up. If I come over to this bit, at this yellow sort of line here, you gain a favour token, and you also get to take one of these. So if I show you, there's a random selection of them. There will be 3 out. You basically take one and you're going to put it on your board. So I'm going to actually take this off now and show you where it goes on the player board. When I start talking about bonus actions, there'll be actions down here. It gives you a new bonus action. At that point you would replace this, so you always have 3 to pick from. And you slowly go through this stack as people get higher up on the guild tracks. When you get to this point, so the second yellow line, you gain 2 favour tokens and you gain another one of those, new bonus actions. Now let's actually talk about all these bonus actions. So let's start off here. The first ones you can do are on the board. If you've got a good here on one of these level 3 goods, you can get rid of it to do that bonus action. The main thing to know about bonus actions is you can do them whenever you want. So you might do it before you meditate, after you meditate, before you fulfill an order at the end, but you can only do each action once on your turn. So this one here is the simplest. It gives you another go. Another worker placement. It doesn't give you the meditation again. It doesn't let you do the fulfill orders at the end again. It just allows you to place another worker. This one stands 3 of your workers up and gives you a favour token. This moves you up 2 of the guild tracks. They can't basically up 2 different ones. And this one you just sell it for whatever the value of they are. So at the start of the game they're free, but they might go up if you've done someone's done some trading. The next bonus actions are all on your board. And I've talked quite a bit about you getting favour tokens. Well, what will happen is, as you get your favour tokens, I actually store them on my board here, so sort of build up. And these are your bonus actions. You all start with those, and these extra ones you get for going up the guild track. So this one is, you need at least 2 favours. You discard 2, so you just put them out the way, and you get any one basic resource, level 1 resource. This one costs you 3 favour tokens, and it moves any resource 1 up. So for example, the wood would move into planks. And finally, this one, you need to have 4 favour, but you only discard 3 of them. And that lets you move up any track 1 space. And as I said, you will gain extra ones. You'll want to look those up in the appendix. Say, for example, this one is you discard 2 favour to stand up one of your meeples. So you generally do that just before you do meditation. The other actions you can do, and this is all one action, so you can only do one of these things. You can spend either 1 curry or 1 oil to stand 1 meeple up, or a curry and an oil to stand up 3. And that's effectively all your bonus actions. So any bonus action you can do whenever you want, but each one only once. So the last bit to sort of cover off would really be the endgame scoring. The endgame scoring for delivering to Akbar is if you delivered 1 item you get 1 rupee, 2 items you get 3, 3 items you get 5, and for each one after 3 items delivered you get another 3 rupees. Okay. On the track, which I'll show here, the guild track, you look at how many items you've delivered to that guild. So if I sort of move out a little bit here, so for example the red player's delivered 1, and let's put the, imagine blue has delivered, well no, let's say 2 items here. Probably more likely to be like that. Whoever's the top of this track gets 2 points. So red would get 2 points because they delivered 1 good. Whoever's second gets 1 point for every good. So blue would also get 2 for their 2 deliveries they've made. If they're both on the same level, they both only get 1 point per delivery, and anyone below them gets nothing. So obviously you work out the end game scoring. There's a couple of other little bits, so it's best probably to get the rule book and go through the end of game scoring. But I'll just mention, if you got to this part of the meditation track, that will be another 5 bonus points. Each one of these tiles you've removed is 1 more bonus point, or when I say bonus point I should really be saying rupee, because it's all about the money. And there's some of the notable cards which will actually give you bonus points at the end of the game. So if I just lean over, this would be an example one of these, where for every item you've delivered to the blue guild, plus any cards with this sort of blue symbol on it that you've claimed, you get 1 point. And that would be it. That would be all the end game scoring done. At that point, whoever's got the most money will have won. Now the thing to bear in mind is people put their coins in the bag, so it can be quite often you don't really know who's won the game until the end, where everyone tips out and goes, how much did you get? So that's the end of the game. I hope you found this useful. I personally found the rulebook a bit of a struggle. So thank you from me and Chantal.